Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Year 4 Maths. I hope you're well this morning. We're going to start this morning with our warm-up activity. As usual, we have our 4 questions on the page in front of you. Triangle questions, please try and do in your head. Square questions, feel free to use pencil and paper. Try and answer these questions in as close to 5 minutes as you can. If you're coming in and you've got lots of time left over, perhaps you could try and look for more than one method to complete the question. When you're answering the questions, press pause, and when you're ready to hear the answers, press play. Okay, the first question this morning, what is 1/5 of 25? What method did you use? Remember, we've talked about when we try to find a fraction of a number, you should divide the whole number, so in this case is 25, by the denominator, which is 5. So 25 divided by 5 would equal 5. That's our answer. 1/5 of 25 equals 5. Second question this morning, 7 twos. Okay, this is a straightforward fluency question. You just need to know your 2 times table to answer it. And ideally, you need to be doing it at speed. What we're trying to avoid is getting you to be watching you count your 2 times table out on your fingers. Okay, we need to be a little quicker. 7 twos, we should know, are 14. Okay, our first written question this morning is 48 divided by 3. Now, the first method we always try and push ourselves towards is the abstract method. This is the most efficient method. This is the one that we've been starting to work on and try and get towards as the year has moved on. The first thing we would do then is line up the bus stop. So we sometimes call it bus stop because it looks like one. Okay, we're going to be starting off with the 3 here. We're going to say how many 3s are in 4? Well, that would be 1, and there would be a remainder, 1 left over, which we would put next to the 8. Okay, 3s then into 18 are 6. And they go exactly. So we would be left with an answer of 16. 48 divided by 3 is 16. Our second method would be, I would suggest, would be using partitioning. And in this case, I'd be thinking about partitioning 48 into 30 and 18. The reason 30 is that it is a nice round number. 10 3s are 30. So it just makes your life a bit easier. In this one, then it would be 30 divided by 3 would equal 10. And then we have 18 left over. 18 divided by 3 equals 6. So if we wanted to add those or recombine those together, we would have 10 plus 6 would be 16. And you can see that's the matching answer with the abstract method over here. Okay, our final question this morning is 564 plus 163. The most efficient method I would suggest here is column addition, and most of us are able to use this now. So let's start off. We need to make sure that we've lined up our columns properly. So the 1s and the 10s and the 100s are all lined up. 4 plus 3 would be 7. 6 plus 6 would be 12. We put the 2 into the 10s column here, and then we carry the 10 over into the 100s column. 5 plus 1 would be 6, plus 1 would make 7. Our answer then would be 727. We could use partitioning, always a favourite, partitioning here for adding. And if we were going to do that, we would have partitioned the numbers up into 560 and 4 and 160 and 3. And we would then add the 100s, the 10s and the 1s together. So in this case, 500 plus 100 would be 600. 60 plus 60 would be 120. And 4 plus 3 would be 7. We then would need to recombine. So 600 plus 120 would be 720. And then add your 7 will give you 727. And you can see that you can check that with what we've got for our answer in the abstract method over here. Okay, so the main learning intention this morning, we are starting a brand new topic today. We're moving on from decimals. However, there will be links throughout this unit. We are starting to look at money. Okay, there will be links to previous learning. We will be making those links during the course of the lessons. Our learning intention this morning, though, is to be able to write amounts of money. Okay, our star words this morning, we would have decimal, pounds, tenth, hundredth, pence, and whole. Those words will be useful to us during the course of the lesson this morning. Okay, so let's learn this morning. What we're looking at here is, first of all, how many 10 pences there are in £1. So if we've got £1 on our green bar here, that's our whole, £1. We are trying to work out how many 10 pences will make up £1. And you can see here that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 pences will make £1. And we know that that works because £1 is 100 pence or 100 pennies. Well, 10 lots of 10 would make 100. So there are clear links to our number work in and amongst all the money methods that we'll be learning about. What I would say in terms of fractions, 1 10 pence, okay, would be 1/10 of a pound. 1/10 of a pound. But we don't normally write it as 1/10. We normally would write it as, well, 1/10 we would normally write as 0.1, okay? But when we're dealing with money, we don't have 0.1, okay? We would normally have to add the 0 on afterwards to fill up the placeholder here. We must have, when we're dealing with money, after the decimal point, there should always be 2 digits. If you don't have anything to put in there, put a 0. So in this case, 10 pence would be written as 0.10. You must have the pound sign in front of it. You never, this is a golden rule for this morning, write 10 pence as pound sign, then 0.10, and then a pence sign on the end. It is either 10 pence or it is 0.10. Never mix them up. Okay, so if we move on and look at the next graphic that we have here, we're looking to write the amount here that's shown in pounds. So we've got £1 and we've got 5 tens. Okay, if we were going to put them into a bar model situation, then we would have 1 whole pound, okay, which is there, and then we would put the 5 tens in. Now in this case, we'd be looking at, it would be £1 and 5 tenths, or £1 and a half. But we don't write fractions when we're dealing with money. In this case, because just now 1 10 pence was 0.10, 5 of them we would write as 0.50. So if we were writing 50 pence, it would be 0.50. You can see here. In terms of this particular amount, it would be £1, because you've got 1 whole pound here, and it would be 0.50, 50 pence. So if we were going to write this as a monetary amount, it would be £1.50. Okay, but this doesn't just work with 50 pence. If you wanted 20 pence, it would be 2 tenths or 0.20. Or if it was 60 pence, for example, it would be 6 tenths or 0.60. Okay, so it will work with any multiple of 10 up to 100. This is further reinforcement here that if we were looking for 30 pence, okay, it would be 3 tenths or it would be 0.30. Okay, this is just showing you how that works. Now other amounts, if we were thinking about £2, okay, we would write it as pound sign and then 2.00. £1 would be 1.00. 50 pence we know would be 0.50. 20 pence we know would be 0.20, and 10 pence would be 0.10. One thing I think is really important to notice here is that after the decimal point, there are always two digits. So we have the tenths column being used and we have the hundredths column being used. Always when we're dealing with money. Okay, now it's your turn. There are three amounts here on the page or on the slide in front of you. What I want you to do is to tell me how much, or write it down and tell me how much money that you have, or amounts of money that you have here for A, B, and C. Press pause while you're doing this and play when you're ready to hear me talk about it. Okay, question A here. We have three lots of 20. So we have 0.20, 0.20, and 0.20. If we add them all together, then we've got pound sign, and then it's 0.60. For question B here, we've got a £2 coin, and we've got 3 tenths. So it will be £2, and then decimal point, and then 30. And then finally, we've got £2 and £1. So we know that that's £3. And we've got 50, 20 is 70, and 10 would be 80. So our total amount here would be £3 and 80 pence. Or if we were going to write that, we'd have our pound sign and it would be 3.80. Okay, now it's your turn. It's time for the independent task this morning. We want you to look at the new chapter. We want you to look at worksheet 1 on pages 43 and 44 of the workbook. Press pause when you're completing the task, when you're working on it, and then press play when you have finished. Okay, finally this morning, I thought you might be able to have a bit of fun with this. What I want you to do is go and ask an adult whether or not they might have the coins that we have on the screen here. So it's £2 and £1 and 50 and 20 and 10. What I'm going to ask you to do this morning is to try and list the different ways that you could make £1.50 using these coins. Okay. And also what I want you to do is to think about which coin couldn't you use and why. So if I was going to give you an example, okay, and I wanted to make £1.50, I might take the pound coin there, and then I might take 50. So I've got £1.50. Now that's the smallest number that I could use. Let's see if you can come up with any more. Press pause while you're doing this and then play when you've finished and you're ready to listen. Okay, so some of the ideas. Now we've got £1.50 already there. We've also could be thinking about maybe having £1 and you might have 20 and 20 and 10. So we've got £1, 20, 40 and 50. You might be able to go with £1 and you might think to yourself, right, I'm going to have £1 and then I'm going to make the rest up with 10 pences. You might go with £1 and 20, and you might want to go with 10, 20, 30, and that gives you £1.50. Now you could go on. There are lots of different ways that you could make up these figures. You can use them more than once. Your choice. The one thing I wanted to just say, which coin couldn't you use and why? Well, in this case, the answer obviously was £2. And why not? Because the amount was only going to be £1.50. As soon as you put £2 in the mix, you've used too many coins. Okay, have a good day, and I'll speak to you all on Monday. Thank you. Stay safe. Goodbye.